Hi, welcome to week two's video on the assignment. We're going to talk about the discussion first. So we've given you a case study. It's about Miss Nolan, who's a popular education teacher, and she's contributing her high success rate on consistent parent involvement, where Miss Cherry, a third grade teacher, is confused because in spite of her 80% parent participation rate, her student successes pale in comparison to that of Mrs. Nolan. So we want you to know, what suggestions would you give Miss Cherry that are related to those 6 principles for research-based partnership? What kind of activities would you suggest to her regarding parenting, communicating, volunteering, learning at home, decision making, and collaborating with the community that are all linked to goals for student learning? And if you'll watch Dr. Epstein's video in week 1, she has some great suggestions for you. So that's your discussion board. You're going to submit your initial post and respond to 2 of your colleagues. So now let's get to week 2. In week 1, you looked at the current school, family, and community partnership programs that you have going on at your school, and you met with your mentor, and you talked about the goals and what kind of participation, the various aspects that prevent and promote that success. You actually looked at the strengths and weaknesses, what some opportunities were, what threats were, and looked at some data that your mentor had. In this week's assignment, you're going to meet either formally or informally with your site-based decision-making team. And you can do that through social media, Google Hangouts, the phone, email, whatever you want, however is best for you with school being out. So your meeting should have at least another representative from your school, one parent, and someone from the community. And so if you are thinking about either designing a new school family community partnership or strengthening a new one, you have to always remember that the most important thing is that you are effectively supporting student achievement. So as you begin to think about what that new partnership might look like, you want to make decisions that best fit the needs of your campus and also best fit the needs of your student. So your committee should understand that the data that you've got came from your mentor, and that you also have resources that your mentor is suggesting. And so with your committee, you're going to be thinking about proposing and describing the school community partnership that you're going to be doing, whether it's one that you're going to renew or one that you're going to create from new. You're going to be looking at the components, including Epstein's 6 types of activities, and you're going to be identifying and suggesting stakeholders for that partnership and what their involvement might be. So we've given you some questions to kind of think about as you're brainstorming with your team. What do you want the partnership to accomplish? Who do you think the stakeholders should be? What should the broad and specific goals be? What community resources do you need? How are you going to procure those resources? Who's going to lead the program? Who should be involved? How are you going to communicate to all the stakeholders? Are there people already working on this issue? And if there are, do you need to be working with them on this? How much time is it going to take? What steps are you going to be thinking about? What research supports investing the time, money, and personnel in these tasks? And how will the proposed partnership be evaluated? So you'll use these questions to guide your conversations with your representatives on your team. This is the rubric that's going to guide you as you begin to think about developing your school community partnership. So for week 2 assignment part 1, you're going to think about what is the current reality. So you're going to take the data that you have. It could be related to academic achievement, student attendance, discipline, any other resources. And you're going to look at that data, and you're going to look at trends, and you're going to look at the disaggregated data, and you're going to say, here's the current reality for the project that we have right now, or here's the current reality for what we need to be doing. And then you're going to talk about what is the vision, looking at all those questions that we talked about. You're going to be talking about how do we resolve the needs that we have demonstrated that are in our school, and how is that leadership going to support student achievement, which is the most important thing that there is. In week 2, part 2, you're going to be looking at your initial partnership proposal. So you're going to start creating this proposal that you're going to be completing at the end of this course. So you're going to fill out this chart, and we want to know what's the title of your partnership. We want you to describe the need. Do you think that you need to have a new partnership, or do you think you should improve one that you had but hasn't had as much success as you think it should have? You're going to summarize strategies and activities that you're recommending, and you're going to be looking at Epstein's 6 types of activities that you're proposing and at what grade level. I've emailed you a document that is going to kind of help you. It breaks down her 6 types of activities and then gives you some suggestions, so it might help you. And then you're going to reference the research. So if you look at it and you say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. This is the strategy or the activity that I'm going to be doing. Go do some research and find out, does the research support you doing that strategy or that activity? And then you're going to make sure that you cite that reference so that we know where that came from. Okay, then the next thing you're going to look at is composing measurable goals. So when you're composing a measurable goal, it has to precisely describe amounts. So you may say, I'm going to increase attendance by 20%. I'm going to reduce discipline by 15%. So those are the kinds of measurable goals that we want you to have. And then how will the school community increase student achievement? So what is this project going to do in order to improve student achievement? It's got to be linked to student achievement. And then looking at your school community partnership stakeholders, who's going to be in the community, what parents, who's going to be from the school that are going to be involved in this. And then what are the stages for approval and implementation, and what are possible sources of funding? You need to find out, does your principal approve this? Do you have to go to your superintendent? Does your school board have to approve it? Same thing with community. You may have a community organization that's going to be working with you. Do they have to have approval from their board? So be thinking about that. Where are your sources of funding going to come from? Do you already have designated money for school community partnerships? Is there a community member that's going to help donate funds? Where are the places that you're going to find funding? What resources do you need? Do you need a place to hold meetings? Are you going to need refreshments? Are you going to need some kind of handouts if you're going to be doing something? Do you need, whatever you need to make sure that your partnership comes off? How are you going to market? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to do radio announcements, television announcements? Are you going to send out mass communication from the school? Are you going to put up signs in the community? How are you going to market this idea? And then most importantly, how are you going to evaluate the outcome? How are you going to know it was successful? Are you looking at student outcomes? That kind of goes back to looking at your measurable goals. How do you know you met those measurable goals? So this week you're going to be working on just getting your thoughts together with your committee about what your needs are and how do you want to put this partnership together, and thinking about the steps, how you're going to implement it, who's going to be involved. And I think that you'll have a great time working on this. If you have questions, you always know that you can email us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions for you. So have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on the web conference.